And it's in between good afternoon and good evening. And let me start sharing the movie straight away. So my name is Arvind Mishra. I'm a leadership coach and a corporate trainer. And welcome to the Management Through Movies sessions by Squares Equal Consulting Private Limited. And the movie today today into contention is Sam Bahadur. It was directed by Meghna Gulzar. And the cast is Vicky Kaushal and Sania Malhotra in and as Mr. and Mrs. Manekshaw. And they have been accompanied and helped by some fantastic actors and actresses along. The name list is long, so I'm going to only mention the two of them. This is based on the life events of India's first Field Marshal General Manekshaw. And if you want to see this, it's streaming on Z as of now, right? And the agenda for the day is going to be as simple as we are going to have the storyline. After the storyline, we are going to learn about the movie and the learnings from the movie Sam Bahadur. Then we'll have question and answers. And after the question and answers, we are going to have just a second. There was a disturbance. Yes. Can you see the screen now? Is the screen visible now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, after the question answers, let me tell you as a disclaimer that we are no way promoting any movie. This is just a few learnings which are from this movie. And there's no recommendation from our side whether you should watch the movie or not. Right? And if I take you through the movie, a brief introduction. In 1934, at Indian Military Academy, the cadet Sam Bahadur was among the first batch, and he was trained with the gentleman cadet at Dehradun. And in 1973, he became the first Air-Field Marshal of India. So this story is from 1934 to 1973, right? And meanwhile, there were 3 wars which our country fought. So this movie contains the stories of the 3 wars, not only those wars, but also a few of the internal fights which are going on at the Eastern Front between the people from Manipur, the MNF, that is the Mizoram National Front, and the Indian troops, and so on and so forth. So this movie is going to capture the stories from 1934 to 1973 as to what are the life and events of Sam Bahadur or General Manekshaw, and it makes a very interesting reading as a soldier's life is always interesting. So to start off along with it, let's look at the trailer of the movie and then we'll go ahead.
सुरा सो पहचानिए जो लड़े दीन के हेत पुरजा पुरजा कट मरे कभू न छड्डे खेत।
तुम्हारे कमांड लेने के बाद सिचुएशन काफी इंप्रूव हुई है।
बड़ी मुश्किल से तो हालात नॉर्मल हुए हैं, तो इसे नॉर्मल ही रहने देते हैं।
नॉर्मल मिनिस्टर, मेरे सोल्जर्स डोंट वांट नॉर्मल मिनिस्टर, दे वांट टू विन एंड आई वांट टू विन।
जिन्ना साहब ने खुद तुम्हें पाकिस्तान आर्मी ज्वाइन करने के लिए कहा है, क्या सोचा तुमने इस बारे में? टू द आर्मी।
अमृतसर की पैदाइश हूँ, बीवी बम्बई की है, दिल्ली में काम करता हूँ, इससे ज्यादा इंडियन क्या हो सकता हूँ? टू द इंडियन आर्मी।
पाकिस्तानी आर्मी के जवान बॉर्डर पार कर रहे हैं। कब बताने वाले थे? श्रीनगर पे पाकिस्तानी झंडा देखने के बाद।
मैंने मानेकशॉ को लेकर जाइए अपने साथ।
अगर वो श्रीनगर तक पहुंच गए, we will lose कश्मीर।
सैम, कुछ करने का इरादा तो नहीं?
आपको क्या लगता है?
तुम नहीं कर सकते।
कर नहीं सकता या करूंगा नहीं। काबिलियत और नीयत का फर्क है, प्राइम मिनिस्टर।
एक तरफ चाइना, दूसरी तरफ ईस्ट पाकिस्तान और चारों तरफ प्रॉब्लम्स।
What do you plan to do?
I will turn to General Manekshaw.
क्या नया है इन रिपोर्ट्स में?
Are you ready for this, Sam?
ये जंग है। मुझे और मेरे सोल्जर्स को इसी की ट्रेनिंग मिली है। आप राजनीति संभालिए जिसकी आपको ट्रेनिंग मिली है। आर्मी का डिसिप्लिन उसकी नींव है। आर्मी की नींव मत हिलाइए, मिनिस्टर। याद रहे, पाकिस्तान को ये जंग हमेशा याद रहनी चाहिए। हम रहें या ना रहें, हमारी इस वर्दी का गौरव हमेशा रहेगा। आज के बाद कोई भी ऑफिसर या जवान मेरे रिटन ऑर्डर के बिना अपनी पोस्ट से पीछे नहीं हटेगा, और मैं वो ऑर्डर कभी नहीं दूंगा।
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was the trailer of the movie. और जैसा कि आपको देख के लग रहा है, the movie is going to be very interesting. And before I tell you about the learnings of the movie, let me also tell you about the disclaimer. These are the learnings which are as per my our understanding. They are not the only learnings from the movie. There might be some more interpretations and there might be some more learnings as per you. But these have been the ones which I have seen the movie, and after watching the movie, my interpretations are, right? So with that disclaimer, let me share the screen with you. And here it comes. Let me scroll through. So the first learning which comes is be loyal to the absent and live the life with values. अक्सर क्या होता है, when someone is not along with us, we start saying a few things about him. A few of them are good and a few of them things are the not good ones. So in this movie, it is categorically mentioned, and through General Manik Shah, the director tries to tell us कि हमको उनके लिए भी ईमानदार होना चाहिए जो हमारे साथ नहीं है. And this is depicted through one of the incidents when the defense minister asked General Manik Shah, "Ki, tell me a few things or reveal me a few things about the working of your senior, General Tinmaya." To this, our protagonist responds by saying, "Army has got its discipline as its foundation values. So please allow me to respect this value and do not ask this question to him." Discipline आर्मी की नींव होता है, और मिनिस्टर कृपया ये जवाब या ये सवाल मुझसे ना पूछें. And by saying this, he gave a clear-cut reply to the defense minister that he is not going to reveal anything about his boss or about his supervisor, because he was loyal to the absent and he had his values, and he also understands the values of the organization for which he was working. So he said that this conveys that we should be loyal to the absent and always live the life with values. We should have our own values. We should also respect the values of the organization. And many a times we don't even understand what are the values of our organization. We don't many a times understand what are our own values. So my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, we should always understand, first of all, our own values. वो कौन सी चीजें हैं जिन पे हमारा जीवन आधारित है, and the values or the vision statements or the mission statements of our organization. वो कौन से स्तंभ हैं, वो कौन से pillars हैं जिस पे हमारी organization खड़ी है. So this is a very strong message which was conveyed through the protagonist by the director. Let's go to learning number 2. And the learning number 2 is pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. And in this movie, you can see that when Mr. Manik Shah was hit by 7 bullets on his stomach, it was a great injury, it was a grave injury rather, और उस वक्त when he was into the hospital, और पूरा bandage था, and the general comes and asks him, how are you feeling? What happened? And he's smiling in a very smiling way. He said some mule hit me on the chest. And the general said, a person with such a fantastic sense of humor should always be in the best of the health. And all the doctors applied their best knowledge and skill on General Manekshaw, and he was again at his fighting best. And not only that, he picked up the morale of this story and applied it to a morale, and picked up the morale of a crying soldier who was crying just because he was hit by one bullet. And he always said कि कष्ट कितना भी हो, मुस्कुराना हमेशा चाहिए. So my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, the learning number 2 is pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Pain तो था ही, obvious सी बात है. If someone is hit by 7 bullets on the stomach, we can't say that he was not having pain, and it was excruciating pain, but he was not suffering as an outcome of that pain. The smile was still on his face, and his sense of humor was still along with him. That's learning number 2. Let's go to learning number 3. He says, if you want to go, take challenging tasks. So whenever in this movie he was being asked, इस वक्त कौन सी पोस्टिंग लेना चाहेंगे जनरल, तो ही ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू से, जो सबसे ज्यादा चुनौतीपूर्ण पोस्टिंग हो वो आप मुझे दे दीजिए. एंड एज एन आउटकम ऑफ दैट he got the posting of Eastern India, where at one side there was the army from Mizo National Front, the one side it was East Pakistan, and other side it was China. So that was the most challenging, सबसे चुनौतीपूर्ण पोस्टिंग थी, और उन्होंने कहा वो पोस्टिंग मुझे दीजिए. He always used to say, bigger the problem and bigger the hero. And this also takes me to one of the incidents, if I can take you. When Mr. Ashutosh Rana, we all know Mr. Ashutosh Rana, when he was doing a book reading for his book, and the name of the book was Ramraj. So he has highlighted Ravan as a Mahashaktishali and Mahagyani and all those kind of things. So I got an opportunity to talk to him, and I asked him कि आशुतोष जी, आपने रावण को इतना ज्यादा क्यों ग्लोरीफाई किया है? तो he said, अगर इंडिया की टीम ऑस्ट्रेलिया को हराएगी तो ज्यादा तारीफ होगी, जिम्बाब्वे को हराने पे तारीफ नहीं होती. तो अगर आपको नायक को महानायक बनाना है, if you want to make a hero, a superhero, तो खलनायक को ग्लोरीफाई करना ही पड़ेगा. So if you want to make a hero, a superhero, then you will definitely will have to highlight the villain. And that's the reason most of the villains in the Marvel stories are super powerful. And in every movie, the strength of the villain is always on the increase. So challenge is always getting high for the hero every time. And it is those challenges, when they have been overtaken by the hero becomes a superhero. So that's how, if you want to grow, and that's how our general became the field marshal, because we took the most challenging task and overcame them. So that's one of the learnings from this movie. Learning number 3, if you want to grow, take more and more challenging tasks. अगर नायक को महानायक बनना है तो खलनायक को बड़ा होना ही पड़ेगा. Right? Let's go to learning number 4. We should always be unbiased and treat everyone with kindness. And we all know that at a given point of time, we have a choice to be the most polite and the most curious person around. But very few of us do exercise that choice. And this was very well displayed in this movie, when once upon a time, one battalion leader gave a punishment of 1,000 salutes to a rifleman for not saluting him. So when General Manekshaw saw that, he applauded that battalion leader and said, yeah, this is the way we should maintain the discipline of army. यही तरीका है आर्मी का डिसिप्लिन रखने का, तुमने बहुत अच्छा काम किया. And the battalion leader was very happy that the general was happy over the things which he has done. But when he asked rifleman कि तुमने सल्यूट क्यों नहीं किया, तो rifleman said कि सर मैं अपना काम कर रहा था और साहब को देख नहीं पाया. So that was not a mistake. That is just maybe you can't say it as a mistake. So the moment General Manekshaw heard that, he said, and he told this to the battalion leader कि see, आर्मी का एक रूल है, हर सल्यूट पे एक सल्यूट दिया जाता है. So going by that rule, if this rifleman is going to do 1000 salutes to you. You also have to respond a salute by a salute. Now on, you also have to salute every time this rifleman is going to salute you. And very intelligently, very politely, he passed on this message to the battalion leader कि if you want to be kind to the people, you will have to kind to them. And yes, as an outcome of it, this battalion leader was also doing 1000 salutes. So that was a very, very, very touching moment in this movie. And this rifleman, whenever he used to see the general, he always used to say कि सर जिस दिन आप नहीं आओगे आर्मी में मजा नहीं आएगा. People like you when you understand them. People like you when you relate to them. People like you when you are unbiased. People like you when you are treating everyone with kindness. This is a very important leadership lesson which was displayed in this movie. Let's go to the next lesson. And the next lesson is, and this is a leadership lesson which tells that our team is our pride. No one has got an authority to defame our team members. No one has got the authority to say derogatory things about a team member. And as a leader, I've got full responsibility to take care of my team. I've got the full responsibility to protect the pride of my team. And this was very well displayed in one of the scenes when the Secretary of Defense very disrespectfully orders one of the army personnel to get some wine for him. And he says, "Hey, hello, can you get me some glass of wine?" And when General Manekshaw saw this, he called that army personnel and asked his full name. What's your full name? And when that cadet told the full name, he told the cadet, our General Secretary has under the impression that you are his servant. Whereas I will like to tell you that you are not a servant of any of us here. You are an army soldier. And when he told this to the cadet right in front of the defense secretary, yes, the cadet was standing there with his head held high, and the defense secretary was a bit embarrassed. And this was not the only incidents where he protected the pride of army. In one of the incidences, at the start of the movie, one of his superiors says, we are doing a construction work or we need some army personnel. So he said कि मेरे पास सैनिक हैं, मजदूर नहीं. अगर आप सैनिकों से मजदूरी वाला काम कराएंगे तो क्या मजदूरों से सैनिक का काम कराएंगे? अगर आपके पास ऐसे मजदूर हैं जो सैनिक बन सकते हैं, प्लीज सेंड देम. अदरवाइज मैं अपने सैनिकों को मजदूर बनाकर नहीं भेज सकता. So he refused to send in troops for the construction work. So my dear friends, our team is our pride. And this is our responsibility to maintain the pride of our team. And this is how General Manekshaw was loved by his entire team. If you want your team to love you, you will have to protect their pride. You cannot be a leader who is not protecting the pride of the team and still the team is loving. Because a leader is giving a higher pedestal. And he's been given a higher pedestal. Not only higher pedestal, he's given more authority. He's giving more perks. He's giving more designations. Why? Because he should be foresighted and he should have the authority to protect the welfare of his subjects. And in case a leader is not able to do that, that is the time when the leader becomes an object of ridicule. लोग उसका मजाक बनाते हैं. But if a leader is able to do all these things, then people like the leader. People want to become like that leader. He becomes a role model for them. So my dear friends, if you want to be a leader, please always understand our team is a pride. It is our asset and you have to protect the pride of their asset. Let's go to next learning. And one of the learning which is very clearly displayed here in this movie is that we should not be constrained by our resources. Many a times when you go and in my training sessions and in my leadership sessions, when I talk to people, most of the time people are talking about the constraints. we don't have enough facilities, we don't have enough time, we don't have enough resources. Let me tell you, as a management professional, there is no perfect time. There is no perfect situation. There are never perfect resources. So we should not be constrained by our resources. And this was very clearly displayed in this movie, as at one point of time, uh, during the first attack from Pakistan to on Kashmir, जब पाकिस्तानी कबालिए कश्मीर के ऊपर अटैक कर रहे थे, so and the Maharaja of Kashmir has not given a clear consent as to on whose side the Maharaja was. So if India wants to intervene in that war to protect the Kashmiri rights, the Maharaja's consent was very, very much necessary. And in the evening, the minister's secretary, along with General Manekshaw, went to Kashmir, and they took the consent and documented consent of Maharaja. And while they were returning back, and in those times, obviously, there was no fax facilities, or there were no mobiles as to they can be communicated. So this file has to be given to the Ministry of External Affairs and the Office of Prime Minister, and they have to return on the same evening. And when they came back on the Srinagar airport, there was no light on the runway, and that was a constraint. So the secretary to the minister said कि sir, रनवे पे तो लाइट ही नहीं है, हम लोग टेक ऑफ कैसे करेंगे? And yes, our General Manekshaw was prepared for that. And how was he prepared? He called up at least 50 army personnel, and each of the personnel was having a torch in his hand. And from one of the army personnel, each torch was lit, and gradually the distance on which they were standing was almost equal to the distance at which the lights on the runway strips are. और एक मशाल से दूसरी मशाल जलती गई, and within minutes, the entire runway was lit up, and the plane took off. And that was the time when the secretary said, कि now I understand why Mr. Nehru said कि General Manekshaw को अपने साथ लेते जाओ. He's always going to pay you all. So he was a gentleman who was never constrained by resources. He was a fantastic activator. He was a person who always used to move ahead, not constrained by resources, not constrained by timing, and not constrained by the challenge thrown by other people. And this was General Manekshaw for you. And one of the most important thing, which is very well shown in this movie, is that the personal agreements and the professional disagreements are different. And it is shown when, if you go and watch this movie, you'll find that General Yahya Khan, we all know General Yahya Khan, who was the army chief of Pakistan in 1971 when the war was on. So he was a very good friend of General Manekshaw. And he was such a good friend that they used to travel on the same bike from their house to the office. And this is pre-independence time. And so much so that General Manekshaw sold his bike to Yahya Khan for 1,500 rupees, which he didn't pay. And they used to have the same. Used to have dinner on the same table, and they used to be family friends, and they used to visit each other very frequently. And their personal disagreements and agreements were not reflected in the professional assignments. And when the maps of Pakistan and India were created at the time of division of the country, at the time of partition, clearly it was mentioned by General Manekshaw कि जब तक, I know Yahya Khan, जब तक पाकिस्तान ऑफिस से इंडिया के मैप्स क्लियर होके नहीं आ सकते, इंडिया ऑफिस से पाकिस्तान के मैप्स क्लियर होके नहीं जाएंगे. And he said clearly that personal agreements and professional disagreements are different. And that was General Yahya Khan for you. Sorry, that was General Manekshaw for you. A man who lived his life with values, a man who was driven by the purpose, a man who was driven by passion. And these are few of the learnings which we learned from the movie. Let me and take a summary of it. And before I took the summary of it, let me tell you about the communication skills of General Manekshaw. And his communication skill was so clear that he was not even worried about the designation of the person who was standing in front of him. And so much so that he refused Indira Gandhi, who used to be the daughter of then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, and he refused him to enter the war room, saying that you don't have the security clearance. That was a bold step, not allowing the daughter of the prime minister. And his communication was so clear that one of his battalions took a decision of withdrawing their troops when they were having a fight at Manipur against the MNF, that is a Mizoram National Front. So when they took that decision, he asked his orderly to go to the market and get a big case of glass bangles. उसने कहा वो चूड़ियां ले आओ, और he packed those bangles and sent it to the battalion leader with the written information, अगर बंदूक नहीं उठा सकते तो चूड़ियां पहन लो. And as an outcome of this, that was जिसे कहते हैं कि that was बहुत ही खतरनाक बेइज्जती थी. और ये बेइज्जती वो बटालियन लीडर बर्दाश्त नहीं कर पाया. As an outcome of it, he took the arms, and within a day, he was able to take control of all the MNF activities there. So this was the kind of communication. We always used to say communication should be strong and clear and unbiased as well. So these are few of the learnings. If I can summarize these learnings, learning number 1, be loyal to the absent and live life with values. Number 2, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Number 3, if you want to grow, take challenging tasks. Number 4, we need to be unbiased and treat everyone with kindness. Number 5, our team is our pride, our asset. Number 6, don't be constrained by resources. Number 7, personal disagreements and professional disagreements. Personal agreements and professional disagreements are different. And number 8, have fearless communication, and it should be strong and clear. So these are a few of the learnings which we are able to take up from this movie. And I hope these learnings must have been clear, crystal clear to all of you. And let's go for time for question and answers. कोई सवाल जवाब?
How great is that we have Prashant and Prashant with us.
Prashant S and Prashant Gulabdi.
Yes.
कोई सवाल? Any questions? Any comments?
Thank you, Arvind. Wonderful, wonderful, nice learning. Since we are into corporate and we are into leadership roles, so a lot of takeaways which I can implement. Thanks to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prashant. That was lovely.
I'm personally a fan of Mr. Jimmy G. So for a change, I am now listening to you. So nice learning. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Prashant.
Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dada, for being so patient and I appreciate your presence. And I hope there are definitely going to be a few of the takeaways. And thank you so much. It's 3:30 and it's a Saturday. So it's 4 p.m. by the way, and it's 30 minutes of Saturday. And I don't want to take any extra minute or second of yours. So that was lovely, Prashant ji and Prashant S. And over to you, Fatima Afreen, for your closing remarks.
Yeah, it's really wonderful that we are learning on a Saturday and being here to learn something new and from a movie perspective. So it's really wonderful, and I'm sure that you must be able to take some lessons with you today. And please share these lessons with someone you can share your experience with. So it will be like you are teaching someone else what you have learned with us. So wonderful. Have a wonderful weekend ahead and have a lovely year coming forth. And
Yeah,
thank you.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Afreen, for reminding that. Wish you all a very happy new year,
Wish you
and wish you all greater possibilities in 2025.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Namaskar.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.
Bye
Have
bye.
a wonderful week ahead. See you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Happy
Nisha ji.
New Year.
Nice summary there.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so much. Okay. Bye bye.